All right, so that was Donnie Nips. I have one more person to invite you in. This is going to be fun because tonight, how many of you feel like your brain is a little bit fried? Yeah? Good. Here, let me try your picture. This is your brain. This is your brain on BBS. No, I'm kidding. This is a piece of what we teach. One of the things we teach at our Mastery Series, the NLP course. I'll talk about the system of your brain and ways to expand the system of your brain. It's a horrible metaphor, but pretend your system of your brain was like a computer processor. It can only handle so much processing at any given time before it freezes up. Usually when people freeze up, they do one of two things. They either stop, go back, and reread or redo, or they feel overwhelmed and go, I'm done, and they give up and they go, I'm out. This is what? Huh? And they stop. Has anyone ever done that before, right now?
Yes.
Yeah? Good. Here's the crazy secret. And the reason you're here right now, after a 9:30 dinner break at 5 minutes to 10, what we're going to do tonight, because we're going to have a break and then go to the VIP party, 10, 20, whatever. So what we're going to do is I want to interview somebody who is going to share with you ways, a very simple way, to take your brain from that place to open, free, feeling great, absorbing information, and feeling good about it again. Does that sound okay?
Yeah.
Good? I know I pre-framed a lot into this, but it really is going to be that way. He has some secret, the work this man does is phenomenal in the field of human intelligence, unconscious programming. And I know a thing or two about unconscious programming. He has a track that I would never imagine. I've been at his events. The last one, there was beanbags everywhere. He doesn't believe in stages. Sorry, Dan. He doesn't believe in PowerPoints and stools and flip charts. He does his events the only way I've never seen an event done like this, but there's no stage. It's just everyone sitting around together. There's beanbags, or there's beach balls, big dice, things like that, playing games. There's no AV, there's just live music. People actually playing music. It's phenomenal, it blew my mind. But the process inside it was what was very interesting. Because the process behind it was about how to activate your imagination in a way that we don't do very often anymore. Imagination is the secret weapon to get rid of the little pea brain overwhelm. When you feel overwhelmed, imagination unlocks it. When you feel stressed, imagination unlocks it. When you need to create, what unlocks it, do you think?
Imagination.
Imagination. Would you like to learn a little more about that and let your brains relax?
Yes.
You sure?
Yes.
How would you like to be lulled to a peaceful place by an amazing voice? And it's not even mine. Please give me a huge welcome. You can stay seated if you like because it's after dinner. Please give me a huge welcome for Mr. Dan Fowler. How you doing, Dan?
I'm doing good.
Yeah, good. I like it when you sit down. It makes me feel tall. Literally. Actually, we're the same height. What the hell?
No.
So I'd love to hear about. Welcome, man. And can I just say, like, you have such great integrity. You are awesome. You were at on our panel at Success Revolution 2 weeks ago, and you were at the event. Like when he goes to an event, he jumps into the event, and I got some great feedback from you. You stayed through the whole thing. Like, what the heck? It was awesome. It was almost like he actually still wants to have personal growth.
Gee, think about that.
And then you've been here for this event, which is awesome. So, who was in Dan's group? Anyone? All right, really cool, right? So you already get to know him. I would love to hear a little bit about. Well, first, tell me about your personal growth. Literally.
Well, okay, I'll tell you the actual physical growth, physical personal growth.
Well, you could have been focusing on it.
Well, I think it was yesterday, and Matt and I were actually, our bladders were in sync, and every time I was going to the restroom, he was going to the restroom too. I'm just like, Matt, are you following me in here? What's going on with this? And he mentioned something about height.
I like company.
Of course, he always mentioned height when he's around me, but
always.
and I said, I mentioned that when I was 21, I was 6'5", and I thought I was done. And then from 21, 22-ish, to 25, I grew another 2 inches. Yeah, and I was like, most guys are done by that point, so I was like, great, I'm 6'7", and I had just purchased a whole new wardrobe. And I was like, why is my pants like going up to my shins? And I had to replace everything again. The good thing though is my feet didn't grow, so that was good. My shoes were good, and I was like, all right. But everything else was, especially pants, were, nuts.
That's awesome. So you're saying there's still hope for me?
There can be. There's this thing called the rack. Stretch you out.
So I thought it'd be nice after dinner to have kind of a simple conversation. Like I said, we'll hang out and chat for 10, 15 minutes, and then we're all going to just get up and just have a blast and hang out together, and Dan will be there as well, of course. But I wanted to kind of lull us into what's going to happen next. Tell me about your take on imagination and how it's different from, I don't know, I guess probably where we think we are or how we grew up. And I really, really like that story around imagination that you taught.
Anybody been in a household where imagination at some point in your life was boo-booed upon? Like, don't do that anymore, stop daydreaming? What, I'm the only one? There's only a couple in the back, come on. Yeah. So my dad, my mom were I grew up in a very fundamental Christian home. And that home led to very strict rules about certain things, about certain belief systems. And I was always the free spirit guy. I was the black sheep. I'm the eldest out of 3. And I was always experimenting, trying something new, but I was always bashed down. So no, this is the way it needs to be done. And I'm really good in school and really good at math. And I'm really good at mechanical engineering. And so I was taking lots of classes with that type of thing. And my dad is an aerospace engineer. So of course, Dad thinks, Dad, you need to become an engineer. I'm like, I don't know, that's fun, but I don't know if I want to do that. I think I want to get into film. And you know how that went over with my dad was like, no, that's a creative arts field, and that's not what you're going to do. And ultimately I defied him. And thank God I did. But I got basically... I defied him, yes. In a world where Dan Fowler defies his father. All right, well, I did defy him, and I ultimately got into film, started my own film production company, etc. But it was always with the mindset of, I need to be practical, I need to be responsible, I need to be that thing that my dad always wanted because I wanted his approval and to make him proud. I wasn't doing it for me. And I realized that the imagination piece, the one thing that would fuel everything for me was the one thing that I was suppressing. It was the biggest thing I was suppressing. And when I realized that imagination was no longer a dirty word in my vocabulary, when imagination became the operating system of my universe,
right?
I drastically was able to manipulate not only the things that were in my mind, but the manifestation of those into my physical realm. And it changed everything.
So imagination, I think, did you give the definition? I like that.
The definition? My definition? I have several
where
definitions.
it came from? Or?
Oh, okay, yeah, well, the word imagination, yeah, I heard you like gasp or something at Donnie's and I said this.
I'm just like, wow, it struck
the word imagine. The word imagine comes from the old French, meaning it's the word image, and it's to manipulate images in one's mind. And so when we are imagining, we are actually manipulating images in your mind. And when you are able to do this effectively, to replace what is there and blocking you with the thing that you are intending to create, magical things can happen. The word magic is actually, those letters are actually in the word imagine, imagination. Kind of interesting, huh? Yeah.
So what's some, I hate the word practical, but like, where does it show up? When you tap into and we'll get to how to do it, when you tap into the imagination aspect, the parts that, we all imagine things sometimes, right? Sure. But have you ever felt like a lot of us, sometimes like we're not almost in control of our imagination? You ever felt like that before? Right? Like you ever just had a daydream that just kind of happened and you're like, oh, stop thinking about that. Right? My wife's a great example. She imagines every night that I don't come home when I'm on my motorcycle that I'm lying in a ditch somewhere until I come home or until I call. She doesn't want to imagine that. She's not a negative person, but her brain is like, but what if he's dead? And that's not a controlled imagination, right? So let's talk about controlling, like using the imagination kind of on purpose, right? So what's that like?
You can leverage your imagination, and I use the word leverage a lot. So with imagination, the out of control, or woe was me, or things are going to be bad, like the motorcycle in the ditch. We are all in this room master manifestors. Would you agree with that? We manifest our reality. So our imagination, if we let it go out of control into a negative spiral, we are going to get into a program. We're creating a program for ourselves. We're also creating a rut and a ritual that happens to have negative ramifications for us, right? Mm-hmm. So what if we could actually change the way we imagine? We can actually spiral out of that into a new ritual, a new rut that's actually positive and brings edification to ourselves instead. And so, and Matt teaches this in his courses and NLP. There's I saw it a couple weeks ago. We were at Success Revolution.
Yeah.
So he did an exercise. It was wonderful. I'm like, wow, that's exactly what I do. And I'm not an NLP practitioner, but that's exactly what I do and what I teach clients to do, and how to manipulate those images in your mind to create lasting change.
So cool. So something else that I'm really excited about, and I just got to call you out on this. Has anyone here ever played a board game before? Cool. Wouldn't it be cool to create your own board game? Yeah. I thought that would be neat, right? So Dan thought that was cool too, and then decided to create his own board game, and then he did. So he's got his own board game. It's the Imagination IQ game, and it's awesome. So I want to ask you, one of the things that I think is really cool you always talk about, and we've spent some time together on this, to activate the imagination. You talk about changing the way you process it, right? Changing the way we enter into imagination. That's going to change when we manifest. Mm-hmm. But one of the ways you're talking about over and over again about how to enter into imagination is through games, and how you, gamify your life, your business, everything else. So I'd love to kind of pick your brain on that. How do you approach that? Like, you did that with your seminar, right? I didn't gamify this seminar. I mean, I haven't danced up and down and stuff, but pretty much it's just it's a regular seminar.
You actually do a really good job. You had great game. It was great activity. Do you think so? I think so. You did a great job bringing a lot of teams in.
But it wasn't gamified. So when I went into your place and there was dice and bean bags and live bands, I was like, what the, that was already different. And you have a gamification summit thing you do. So I want to hear how the gamification of life, how does it activate imagination, and what's the story with that?
Well, let's talk statistics. Who likes statistics? Yeah. So 80% of people, this is people in the world, all kinds of people, prefer a game-related activity to a learning activity. They prefer it, 80%. That's a lot. So if you're not gamifying, you're actually not exactly giving people exactly what they want. So that's something that I was like, oh, well, I should probably do more of that. I gamify my life, so I might as well gamify the things in which I bring into my events and such. So gamification becomes a vehicle into their subconscious. They are actually learning and having fun, but they're actually in transformation while they're playing and having fun. So it's less work for me. It's actually easier of a sale at the end. I make more money, etc., etc. The games actually open up doors where traditional things, at least for me anyway, never really worked that way. I had to find my own path on that, and it came down to gamification. With the board game, I have lots of experience in actually monetizing the use of board games. So I worked with...
this is really cool.
I worked with the cash flow game. I worked with the abundance game. I don't know if you've ever heard of the abundance game. Okay. Brandon Broadwater, Brandon's the designer of the abundance game. I called him up and said, hey, I've got this idea for your game to actually expand and augment it. And it creates a way in which to monetize it beyond the purchase of the game.
Expansion packs.
Yeah, expansion packs. Well, this Brandon's game, The Abundance, is all about business and how to operate with money, etc. So I said, well, we've got business owners who actually do that in my local area. Why don't we create expansion pack cards of real opportunities that we infuse within the game? And then we create sponsors of games. And then we invite people to the board games, people that the sponsor doesn't know who plays this board game. And guess what? They take advantage of a hypothetical opportunity in a game, and it happens to be a real opportunity of the individual who sponsored the board. Boom, blew their minds, right? So I did that for several years with the abundance game, but then I reached an apex where I realized, oh, I can't go really much further because I don't own this game. I don't own it, so I shelved it. I shelved it, I'm gonna come back to it. I had all the methodologies down, and then with the onslaught of Imagination IQ, my live events, people were coming to me up after the event with all the beanbags and stuff. Damn, we love your event. We want to take it home with us. Ah, ding, ding, ding. I guess it's time for me to go back, and I need to create my own board game about Imagination IQ, and about the curriculum I teach, and start this process over again. And we're in that process right now.
It's so cool. So, has anyone here played Imagination IQ, the board game? Right? Woo woo. Yeah, they saw Dan speaking, and he's like, and this is the board game I made. It's kind of cool. And then they're like, can we buy your board game? He's like, well, I don't have any, just a demo. And then he was like, cool, can I get that one? He's like, I guess.
It was a full game. It was open.
It was the open demo.
I don't care. Give it to me.
It was awesome. And
that was Amy's voice. Give it to me.
And then you guys started playing it right away, right?
Yeah, until midnight, right?
And then something crazy. Did some crazy stuff happen?
It was really cool because, just like Dan said, all of the things that we have been kind of struggling with and thinking in our heads came up in the game. And one of the things we kept saying is, I wish there were more people playing with us so that we could get more brains working together on the stuff that showed up. Yeah, it was really super fun.
It's basically a tool to not only show you where you're at, but also guide you to where you need to go. And that's what the game's all about. And that's what we teach at our events too. Yeah.
Super phenomenal. So, if I'm running workshops, if I'm coaching, if I'm running my business, what would you say to me? What's the easiest, kind of fastest thought process or tip if I want to gamify and make it easier? If I want to, I'm like, I know I need to like gamify, right? I know I want to bring in more games and fun stuff to the learning and to the sales and to everything. Where do I start? What's kind of a tip on that?
Well, my success with gamification in my Imagination IQ event comes from not sitting on our butts for very long. That's just what we do. We do the beanbags, but they're not sitting down for very long. I mean, Amy was there as well. There's several people in the room that's been to Imagination IQ, and we're up doing something. We're either dancing or we're kicking beach balls around or whatever, but we also have exercises and activities too. For me, embodiment is one of the keys. When you think of when we're in kindergarten, there are different stations in the room, and it's there for a purpose, so we can compartmentalize our learning. Now, we can do that from the stage, and it can all be from the mouth, but I don't know about you, but there's a lot of people I know who don't do well with learning from lecture style. And my people, the people that are trying to burst out and really tap into their imagination, don't do well with lecture style either. So they want something that is more full-bodied, using a modality that moves the body, moves the brain, interacts not only with the people in the room, but interacts with our environment too. Our environment, our actual room, is a character in our story too. That's awesome. And you saw that. Yeah. You saw that happen.
Well, the funny thing is, I know it works, right? Like people always point out, this is kind of a funny thing on games. I'm walking around with Val. Did anyone meet Val, my son, yesterday? He was here, my wife. You guys, no one else met him? He's a little kid running around all the time with Elvis coming up on stage, opening up the matrix of leadership. Things Jeremiah. He's having a great time. One of the things people always marvel at is they go, my God, he's so smart. He's not really that smart. But I played a lot of games with him on learning. And I didn't really think of it like that. I guess from the NLP perspective I would, but like I never thought of using it in seminars. So I'll do things like, I was like, oh hey, where's my radius? And then he points to my bone. And then I say, where's my occipital lobe? And then he goes and finds my occipital lobe. And people were like, how does he know an occipital lobe? The answer's easy. I just ask him to tickle me there. I say, can you get my, and he's like, where's that? I go, it's right here. And he goes, and he tickles me. And then I go, can you tickle my humerus? And then he's like, where's that? This was like years ago. He's 2 or something. And then I told him it was right here. And like, So now I can do that, but you make a game, and he has no idea he's even learning. That's like right the same process, right?
It's about association. So like for us as adults, since I work with adults, one of the biggest things issues we have is we don't move our bodies.
And we don't want to tickle each other as often.
That's true. We don't want to, we feel like we have this personal space thing. And we break those batteries. And my events, by the time you're done, you're all over each other. But it's not
You're all over each other. All right.
Yeah.
We got one more minute. Thank you for being flexible too and coming up tonight. And guys, thank you for being here. I hope this has been, a great time. We're having fun together, obviously. I can't wait. I know you're tired. I know it's been a long time. But trust me on this, there's nothing that's going to get your body moving more than some food and a great drink and some really, really good conversation. So let's go do that now. Dan, Parting Connection. You have something coming up I'm going to be at. It's going to be awesome. How can they connect with you more, and would you like to give a gift to the crowd? Would you like something that's like a gift? Yeah. Are you guys sick of gifts? Are you sure? Okay, you know what? Charge them.
All right, we'll charge them. All right, well, I've got a one-day gamification summit. It is on Saturday, August 15th in Irvine.
It's only one day?
It is only one day.
You mean you can wake up, go, and then come back and sleep at your house?
Yeah, that's right. Same day.
Damn.
Same day.
Who wants a one-day seminar after this, right? All right, awesome.
So we mix it up.
August 15th in Irvine, that's where we live, this is great.
And we are really focusing on those of you who are speakers and trainers and are going to be doing your own events. This gamification summit is going to be teaching you how to gamify your events.
Awesome.
I'm there. We have lots of fun, and Matt's going to be there, and Donnie's going to be there too, so there's going to be lots of familiar faces.
Very, very cool. And if they want to come to that, how do they do it?
I have 25 scholarships here. These are normally a few $100 to come to it's $500 usually for the day for this gamification thing.
And luckily for you guys, you came back after dinner.
Yeah, I don't know how many people are in the room, but what I have, there's actually 2 dates too. So if I get to the 25, I will increase or extend my scholarship for my December 5th. I have a December 5th gamification summit exactly.
So you capped out August 15th at a certain point.
Yeah, so I got like 25 that I can give out, and once we get 25, then we can move you on into December. So the first 25 can choose where they want to go.
All right, cool. Thank you so much for that. It's going to be great.
I have order forms. You can come and see me right after this. So
that's a silly question. Because he has an order form. So here's what's going to happen. And Donnie, since you're here, I'd love to do this. Dan is going to be over here at one of the tables as we end tonight. We're going to take a really fast kind of break. Connect with Dan. If you think that you are running events or you already do run events and you want to find out how to gamify it and make it better, you owe it to yourself. You got to connect with Dan and understand this. I've never seen anyone do it better than him. He is kick butt in this space, imagination and gamification. So make sure you connect with him and do that. Second thing is, if you want to understand more about entrepreneurship, networking, running a membership, organization, you got to connect with Donnie as well. He's going to be at a future event of ours. I know we didn't have a long time to chat with him, but I'd love if you can stick for a few minutes. If you have any questions for Donnie about that, he has really, really made a mark in creating a recurring revenue membership that entrepreneurs can be a part of. You can find out how to be a part of it, or you can at least find out and pick his brain on how the heck you do that for yourself. And I think he'd be open to just having a conversation. He's a great guy that way too. So thank you so much, guys, for your time, your power, your love. Thank you for coming back. Thank you for letting me go over by 14 minutes. I so appreciate it. I hope it was worth it. I had a great time with you, a great night with you. Make sure you talk to these guys before we head out tonight. We have a lot more fun tomorrow.